Hi, my name is Jonna Sandau, and I'm a student at Touro University, California Graduate School of Education, and I'd like to present to you my research project entitled Parent-Led Literacy Interventions Enhanced by School-to-Home Communication Technology. Each year, a significant percentage of elementary school's youngest students are found substantially low in achievement on early literacy skills assessments. It seems as though these children enter school already in the achievement gap. While teachers do their best to provide high-quality, effective interventions in school where students do make significant growth, it isn't enough. In the United States, many children enter kindergarten already behind in the early skills and knowledge they need to become successful readers. When given standard early literacy assessments, these students have a difficult time catching up to their peers who entered prepared. A surplus of research has found that parent involvement can have a positive impact on student achievement in literacy. In 2014, the California Department of Education published a 56-page document entitled Family Engagement Framework, designed to be a tool for district and county leaders to use as they work with schools, families, and communities to plan, implement, and evaluate family engagement practices that directly impact improved student achievement. The Pew Research Center on Internet and Technology reports that 67% of people who make less than $30,000 per year and 82% of people who make between $30,000 and $49,000 per year own smartphones. This means that more parents than ever can use technology to communicate with their children's schools and access resources to become involved in their education. If it is demonstrated that parents can help their children become better readers using technology, one potential way to close the achievement gap could be identified. Many students enter school without preschool experience, the ability to rhyme, or recognize the letters in their names. Kindergarten teachers work diligently to teach alphabet letters and sounds throughout the year, and students are expected to be nearly fluent by spring. The children who struggle with this skill will start first grade less prepared to become strong readers. While all parents want what is best for their children and all teachers want their students to learn, sometimes parents and teachers lack what they need to help children succeed to the best of their abilities. A teacher may not have the additional time needed to accelerate a student to the next stage in learning, and a parent may lack the skills needed to remediate her struggling child. Furthermore, sustaining enrichment activities can be difficult for busy parents with many diversions competing for their time. What have others said about this problem? Well, a seminal author on the topic of parent involvement, Joyce Epstein, points out that parents remain an under-tapped resource. All students have families who could be potential collaborators with the school, but on the other hand, she also highlights that many teachers have not received training in parent engagement or family communication skills. Research shows that letter sound knowledge is a strong predictor of success in early reading performance. In using technology to increase parent involvement in school, Christine Olmsted studied parents' and teachers' perceptions of technology in relationship to school communication and parent involvement. Her findings revealed that parents and teachers highly value home involvement and technology as a way to facilitate it and to communicate. Not a lot of research is out there specifically surrounding parent-led early literacy interventions, specifically focusing on letter sound fluency. Even less research on this topic addresses supporting the parents with technology in the form of emails and text reminders that include additional digital resources. The purpose of this study was to determine whether parents can be significant contributors to their children's acquisition of letter sound fluency with support from their children's school via technology. Through an extensive literature review, I was able to model a home literacy program based on other programs that I read about. The following questions guided my study. What is the relationship between adherence to the program and outcomes? Are the intervention activities rated as valuable to the parents? What is the relationship between student outcomes and parent ratings of the intervention activities? Do parents rate the text and email reminders as effective? What is the relationship between outcomes and parent ratings of the text and email reminders? And finally, which features of the program do parents rate as most helpful? Here's my study design. To select participants, I began by looking at the pool of students who scored the lowest or intensive on the beginning of the year DIBELS, which is a district-mandated assessment that stands for dynamic indicators of basic early literacy skills. Then I asked 3 teachers to each select 5 names of students whose parents might be likely to participate. Those parents were invited to participate and to attend a dinner meeting where the program was explained and activities were demonstrated. I started off with 12 sets of parents who agreed to participate, and some attended the dinner while some did not. By the end of the program, 3 parent sets had dropped out. On to the first steps with the students. Students were initially assessed using a sheet of randomly placed upper and lowercase letters and timed for 1 minute to measure how many letter sounds they could name. Next, activity sheets were sent home weekly that included letter sound activities. These were matched to their benchmark homework, and benchmark is our district's English language arts curriculum. There were 4 nights of activities for each week, and these went out for 5 weeks. For each night of the program, digital emails or texts were sent out as reminders and encouragements to participate. In addition, digital resources for letter sound activities for the letter of the week were shared in these messages, as well as a digital parent log response form. For those who preferred paper, paper logs were included with the weekly activities that were sent out. Finally, at the end of 5 weeks, parents were sent a digital and paper form of a survey to capture their opinions on the components of the program. Here are the letter sound fluency pre-test scores, which are light blue, compared to the post-test scores, which are dark blue. As you can see, the pre-test mean was 4.3 letter sounds per minute, where the post-test mean rose to 13.2 letter sounds per minute. I was pretty happy with this growth. So the growth sounds great, but the main research question I wanted to answer was, what's the relationship between adherence to the program and student outcomes? This graph illustrates just that. When I ran the session number data and the score change data through the Pearson correlation coefficient calculator, the value of their relationship was set at 0.5186. This indicates that there's a moderate positive relationship between high session numbers and high scores, meaning that there's a tendency for high session numbers to be reported with high scores and vice versa. One thing of interest that I do want to point out is that first value on the chart. The dark blue line represents the number of sessions reported, while the light blue line shows positive or negative score changes. The student who reported the highest number of sessions at the very beginning of the line had only a growth of 4 points, and the reason I'm pointing this out is because this student was identified as receiving speech services through special ed. And this information was very helpful to me in understanding that the program would have different effects on distinct types of students. Now for the end of program parent survey results. 7 out of the 9 parents responded. To answer my research question about whether the activities are rated as valuable to parents, when asked to what degree the parents enjoyed the program, 100% gave a score of 5 out of 5 on the Likert scale for very much. As far as the relationship between student outcomes and parent ratings, students whose parents rated the program's effectiveness at the highest level of 5 had a mean post-test score of 13.5 points higher, meaning that they could correctly name 13.5 more letter sounds per minute. As far as the relationship between student outcomes and parent ratings of the text and email reminders, students whose parents rated the effectiveness of the reminders at the highest level of 5 had a mean post-test score of 8.5 points higher. Which features of the program did parents rate as most helpful? Well, 100% of respondents indicated that the poems, pictures, and letter sound activities were helpful. Parent Square reminders and Parent Square links to alphabet videos were next, both selected by 5 out of 7 parents as being helpful. Parent Square links to online learning alphabet games was selected by 4 out of 7 parents as being helpful. The features least selected as helpful were both versions of the parent logs. Every program feature was selected by at least 3 parents as being helpful. Here are my post-study reflections. Although the program seemed to have a positive effect for those who spent more time on activities, not all parents chose to be substantially engaged with the program. Creating materials and maintaining ongoing text communication with parents was a bit time-consuming and challenging with families who didn't speak English, even though our school had a parent liaison to help. Program activities did not seem to have as much of a positive effect with students receiving special education services for speech. When examining scores of students who struggle the most, it's usually difficult to know which students will end up needing special education services, as many are not tested until later, especially when you're trying to help students in the lower grades. For my capstone project, I would like it to be centered around my original interest in the achievement gap and early literacy, and finding innovative practices to approach it. The following questions will guide my work. What literacy teaching strategies will work best for primary students struggling with learning to read? What can be done to assist teachers in implementing these strategies? What are some innovative, quick ways for teachers to engage parents of these students in continued home-based literacy activities? For those of you interested in my research, here are the articles that I used and the references. Finally, I'd like to thank you for listening and have a great day.